Hey guys, I'm gonna show you guys how I take out my crochet install. I don't want to take it out. It's been a month. It makes me happy, but I did get a lot of paint in it. So considering I got all that paint in it, it's time to cut it out. So this is my process of how I cut out my crochet. So instead of trying to find all these knots initially, I'm gonna cut all the hair off and then cut along the knots before I take it out. You ready? Let's get started. So this is the process for how I cut out my knotless crochet install. I'm not gonna lie, this process may be different depending on what kind of install you have in your head, but for all my clients who I only do knotless crochet in, this will be very helpful, so you'll know how to take out this install seamlessly without having to lose hair or stress yourself out more than you have to. Now we basically cut off the bulk first just so we can see a little bit more clearly when it comes time to cut the knots out of this knotless crochet install, because even though it's knotless, there are knots there, they're just not visible. So we're going to cut off as much hair as we can to make sure we can see a little bit more clearly when it's time to actually get up close in there and cut those knots out. So even if, this is an install I put in, you want to make sure you're pulling the hair and cutting just the crochet hair and none of your hair. Now here's where you cut along the top of the braid where you can feel the knots. So if you see, I'm pulling at it and then I'm cutting along where the knots are. You can kind of see them start to appear right there. Now if you're doing this at home, you'll feel a little bit of lumpiness at the root of where the hair connects to your cornrow. So just pull at it until you start to see the knots. So you can see I'm pulling and then finding the knot and cutting it. And I always say cut over it than under it. It's gonna be a lot safer to cut on the top of the knot than underneath the knot. And as you can see, as I pull at it, the hair just starts to slip out. If it's not slipping, I'll just cut where the loop of the knot is and get the remainder off. And then keep pulling until you get the hair out. And this is the process we're doing along most of the front, because all my knotless crochet installs are knotless around the perimeter. And if you look closely, you can see like how the hair is just slipping from underneath of it as we cut. So if you find that you start to have a fight at the root, I would say cut only on the knot or loop, more so the loop that you see the scissors going through right there. That will always loosen up the connection to where the hair is installed. So if you can just get your scissors under a loop of hair, that'll always help to detach and loosen the crochet hair off of your cornrow. I say do this all day because sometimes we get frustrated and start pulling at the hair, and then that's when we rip out our edges and cause damage to our hair. So take the time if the hair is stuck, like this piece is stuck right now, and cut only on the loop of the hair, and you'll start to see it loosen from the cornrow. And it's always better to be safe than sorry and take your time rather than lose hair. As you can see now, the cornrow is still intact. And as you continue through your head, you'll start to find that the midsection normally has a little bit less intricate knotting. So it's kind of double looped, but it's a bigger knot that you can feel and kind of just cut out. So the middle section is always a little bit easier. And the sides, of course, still has the knotless. So we're pulling and cutting at those knots until the hair starts to loosen. So I would just say, more than anything, take your time. I've heard too many sad stories about people losing their hair because they're rushing and then they cut their cornrow and then they have this long piece and a short piece. So make sure you're only cutting where you feel knots. If you're not sure, cut further than the knot, then right on top of it, because you rather that and have to go back and cut a little closer than cut too close and you end up cutting your cornrow. And then once you get the knot cut, you'll start to feel you can just loosen the hair from the braid with your fingers, pulling at it until it starts to just come loose. And looks like I gotta do a little bit more cutting there along those knots. but you'll see that definitely helps to start to loosen the braid once you cut close enough to the knot. And my apology, guys, if you hear an echo, it's because I'm in my bathroom. It was the only quiet place in my house that I could talk to you guys, so bear with the echo if it's annoying. But basically, I'm just going to fast through the rest of the process just so we can get to the ending of this removal. The process is the same throughout the whole head. So if you need to see this part a little bit more detailed, feel free to just go back and rewind and you'll see the same process again and again. I'm just doing it a little bit faster here so you guys can see it's the same process of cutting the bulk out and then repeat just cutting at the knots and loosening it with your fingers, and your hair should all still be strong and intact when this part is done. And as we get to the back, just try to loosen the knots with your fingers first before you start cutting at it. And that's why, I'm showing you this area separate, because as you can see, I can't see what I'm doing in the back. Where the front sections, I was looking in the mirror, so I was able to see a little bit more clearly how I was getting those knots out. Here we can't see as good, so you really want to make sure you're pulling until you can get that knot firm in your finger before you cut the knot out, because the last thing you want to do is, first off, cut off the end of your cornrow, because normally that's where all your length is, and you don't want to end up just moving too fast and either cutting yourself or cutting into your braid. And you can go through and just repeat these steps along the head until all of your crochet hair is out. And once you are doing this section, you really want to make sure you aren't cutting the end of your cornrow, because you will find it tucked underneath one of your cornrows. And then once you get that end of the braid out, you're going to spray it with water or leave-in. That just helps to loosen your hair so it's not as tight and dry when you go to unravel it from the braids. But basically, I would say that's like a major key before you take these cornrows out. Just spraying the hair with a light mist of leave-in or water, just so the hair comes out a lot more easily without breaking. As you can see, my hair looks pretty darn soft. It doesn't look all dry because of that mist. But you do want to brush and detangle as you go. I'm using my Tangle Teezer brush. This does prevent matting. It prevents a lot of tangling that can happen in the shampoo process. So definitely make sure you are detangling as you go after you unbraid each section. And that will help a long way with you going to shampoo your hair after this is all done. Thank you for watching on how I take out my crochet install. I hope this was helpful, so if any of you can't get to a professional to help you, you can do it at home, because it's important for you to take out your crochet, not tangle your hair, and not break your hair. The next step to this is first putting conditioner through your hair, and then shampoo, and then do your second shampoo and your condition. The condition works as a pre-poo to make sure that the hair strands are moist before they're clean, and that prevents natting. It gives a little bit of slip versus it just collecting as a ball of hay. So make sure you guys condition, shampoo twice, and then condition, preferably deep condition, to make sure your hair gets all the moisture it's been missing. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Haley of LoveLeys Hair, and I look forward to seeing you soon.